Welcome to Stay Sparked. On this show, we explore how to stay inspired in the modern world through the most profound lessons from Burning Man, relationships, entrepreneurship, psychedelics, spirituality, travel, and more. On today's episode of Stay Sparked, we are continuing the conversation on money mindset.
Yes, what sort of mindsets are we holding on to? What sort of mindsets is it good for us to embody, and how do we apply that out into the world?
We looked at some of the teachers who have helped us, looked at healthy skepticism, and also the positive attitudes of generosity that can keep the constriction down and the flow going.
Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Stay Sparked. We are longtime friends who have been inspiring each other for over a decade. So we are here to share conversations aimed to inspire and light you up. Thank you so much for listening. If you've been enjoying them, leave us a message on Apple Podcasts, like Brett did when he said, each episode takes you on a captivating journey of inspiration and motivation. The hosts have a natural ability to engage listeners, making every topic relatable and thought-provoking. Thank you, Brett. Although, Brett, it looks like you hit 4 stars instead of 5, which we really want 5 stars because you kind of brought down our average, and we're trying not to hold it against you. And we're a little angry, but maybe that's something we'll work through in another episode. Anyways, thanks for your review. Please leave us more reviews. I'm Halcyon.
I'm Betsy.
And I am Giannis.
I am the host of the Hug Nation YouTube channel.
I am a holistic healing arts practitioner and a founder of Power Affirmation Project, teaching life skills for sustainable happiness.
And I am the founder and CEO of New World Nutritionals, a nutritional supplement company with products designed to help elevate your state of mind.
Thanks, guys. And we always like to start off the shows with a little bit of gratitude sharing. So, Betsy, would you start us off?
Sure. Today I'm really grateful for a new habit that I'm forming for a summertime eating practice, I would call it. So I have been getting to incorporate some really fun ways of getting fresh food into my diet and simplifying a lot. And so I've been focusing on making sure to get garden vegetables as much as I can. So I have some different vegetables in my garden, and I've been connecting with some other friends that have vegetables in their garden, and we've been getting to share food right from the land. And so that has felt really good, and I'm so grateful to experience the abundance of nature and learning how to eat right off the land.
Nice.
Oh, that's great. That's great for sure. So cool. My gratitude for today is I finally got to get some nature time. It's been a while. I think I've mentioned before that I've been needing that, and I finally got it with a handful of friends out in Joshua Tree, which was the hottest weekend of the year so far. But those early mornings and around, sunrise, sunset hours out there were just magical and sublime, with a nice breeze going through it. And it was really perfect. And it was like just being out overnight under the stars, which I haven't seen stars like that in a long time. So it's the last time I was out there. So it was really nice to just drop in and relax and feel my breath for a couple of days. So with some really lovely friends as well. So that was a good time, and still buzzing from that. So definitely feeling the gratitude.
Nice.
So good.
Well, I'm going to continue this nature appreciation. I got to visit Esalen for a day last week, and Esalen is a retreat center on the cliffs in Big Sur where redwoods meets cliffs, meets ocean, meets hot springs, and it is a just absolute magical place where the natural world kind of converges, and has a history of humans coming together and sharing their paths of growth and teaching one another. And there's something about the energy there that I just was absolutely inspiring. And so I'm super grateful for the location, the nature, and the people that have added their energy to it over many, many decades.
Amazing.
And so
Had you been there before?
this was my 3rd visit. My previous 2 visits were Burning Man based. I went to a Burning Man staff retreat there, and then I went and took a class for a week on Burning Man history there once. This is my first time coming back, just enjoying the hot springs itself.
Nice.
You're sparking me. Makes me want to go.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's something else. It's really if I would say if you are on the edge of woo, that place will take you way over. It is so incredible.
Mm.
So we have been having an ongoing conversation about money and money attitudes, and we're going to continue that today. We've got so much to talk about. We've even got guests coming in our future episodes, but today we're going to, the three of us, continue talking about the impact of money, some of our teachers of money, and maybe we can start with that. As either of you have an influential voice in your evolving attitudes about money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I love continuing this conversation with you guys because we have money mindset episode 1, and we just had so much to talk about. We had to cut it off early, so I'm really excited to keep this conversation going with you guys. There's so much to learn and discover, and I know I personally have been on a journey of wanting to study money mindset and learn about financial literacy and explore my own belief systems. And one of my inspirations for learning about money mindset is a kind of an unassuming name that maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't. Her name is Florence Skovel Shinn, and she is one of the pioneers of mindset work. So she started with The Word as Your Wand is one of her books. I think it was in the early 1900s, and she spoke a lot about money mindset, wealth mindset, prosperity mindset, how we speak to ourselves, how we relate to the exchange of money in our hands, how we open ourselves to opportunities, also scarcity, how that, kind of comes in and out of our consciousness. And so she has definitely been one of my sparks of inspiration on my own personal journey of discovering my prosperity mindset. So if you haven't heard of Florence Scovel Shinn, she's a really fascinating woman. She was actually the mentor of Louise Hay, who
Oh,
Louise Hay, as many more people usually have heard of that name. She's also a pioneer of affirmations in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s even.
That's
Mhm.
cool. Cool. I'll have to look her up. For me, the money mindset people early on in my, you know, I guess my seeking of that kind of fell upon the speakers that we're all familiar with. Let's say Tony Robbins, T. Harv Eker was like, I think he had like the millionaire mindset, something like that. So, and definitely feel like I got some good perspectives on there that started to help shape and form a positive money opinion with that. So I wouldn't say that they're certainly for everybody, but I do feel like I got some good stuff out of there. More recently, I came upon an old book called "It Works" by an author, an anonymous author. I think they found out who he was, but he went by the initials RHJ. And it just had it wasn't specifically about money, but kind of just calling in the things that you're looking for, and really pretty precise information. It was a short book, but I definitely found it effective as well to apply a positive mindset towards attracting the things that I wanted to attract. Sometimes that was money, and we can also get into the idea later, I would like to, about how we're not so much interested in money, but we're interested in what the money kind of represents to us. So none of us are looking to be like Scrooge McDuck, like diving into a swimming pool filled with dollar bills, or looking to be a dragon sitting on top of a big pile of gold in the back end of a cave. Like, there probably are people like that. I know there are people like that, but I think a lot of us, we just want the things that, the money would provide us, security, abundance, things like that, which we can definitely get into as well. But that book, It Works, kind of focused on that. And recently I read a book that was really pretty cool, recommended by a friend, by an author named Tosha Silver. And the book was titled "It's Not Your Money," which was a definite interesting spin on how we exist in this ocean of financial energy, much like a fish is in swims around the ocean. Like describing water to a fish would be very hard, because what do you mean this thing I'm swimming in and breathing through? It's like, yeah, we're surrounded by this money energy, and it's not that challenging to just have it kind of flow your way. But as long as you're not looking to, the mindset this book kind of teaches was, you don't want it to flow to you, you want it to flow through you. You want to keep the current flowing, and once you kind of adjust your life and your outlook and perspective for that, you'll find that it's like, this, like, this money just kind of keeps coming, and I'm not trying to hold on to it. I'm paying my bills and I'm doing the things that I want to do with it, but you got to keep it moving. And keeping it moving, meaning, donating, to certain causes or supporting friends' businesses. And you kind of get out of a scarcity mindset. It helped to get me out of the scarcity mindset that has a way of just kind of creeping in if you're not careful. And it's like, no, okay, it's not my money. It's just flowing through me. And I've definitely seen an uptick in my, income, of my financial abundance this year as a result of kind of making that one change. So Tosha Silver, It's Not Your Money, is a good book.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love thinking
Mm-hmm.
about in terms of the flow of, if my hands are clasped holding on to what I have, then they are not open to receive what's possible. And so that image or that visual of being constricted around money versus the flow and being open to money has kept me able to avoid that scarcity kind of constriction that I think you're talking about. I wanted the book that was the most influential for me early on was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and this idea that was just this hit me so hard. This kind of difference between acquiring abundance via working hard versus acquiring abundance versus by having your money work for you. And that this idea that I grew up with, that if you want to make more money, you take on more work, you work harder, you take on more work, you work harder. And it just never quite clicked that that's not scalable. You can only have so many hours of your own labor. And that book really just snapped me out of that headspace, which is just such a big difference. I think, you can really tell someone who when you're a kid, you try to, well, some kids, you want to do more chores, and some kids go, who can I hire to do some chores that then I can, charge a price for, and then hire more kids to wash windows for me or something like that. And I think that was a huge snap. Now, I should say, before I finish my praise of that book, that I tried to start listening to YouTube videos and podcast of the same author recently, and really was turned off by what I felt to be the coldness and the lack of humanity towards people struggling. And there was this kind of gamification of making money that had no compassion for the people that were being, kicked out of their homes, for example. And there was a story he told specifically where he was kind of laughing at the frustration of a tenant who he was evicting. And I was just like, wow, that seems like an incredibly high cost for wealth to be closed off to the pain of your fellow human beings. So I'm not a student of this author, but before I could suggest the book, I would say that I'm not a fan of that person any longer.
Yeah, I know the video where you speak. I saw that and had kind of the same reaction. And on the one hand, I mean, that was the same perspective I had, and I definitely also, and that's the one I still have, but I definitely also held their perspective or the outlook, like, well, I mean, this is capitalism. This is the thing we're all doing, or that is, it's just like, the idea of you are going to do capitalism or capitalism is going to do you, one way or the other. Like, that's going to happen. So you can either play the game or get played by the game, which is a super, like, cynical, crappy outlook, I think, but it's got a lot of validity to it as well. So I don't know, maybe we can touch on that a little bit as well. I don't know if that's part of this, what we're trying to do here or this conversation, but
Yeah, well, I think that goes right into our belief systems, right? How do we carry ourselves through this system that we're a part of? Because here we are, this is how we live. There is capitalism in our experience of this life. And so how do we navigate it? And then also what I'm hearing from you guys too is coming from a place of healthy skepticism, with our certain teachers or people that we follow or the system itself, right? The Four Agreements is a really powerful book as well. We're on a book train here. That's the
Mhm.
Four Agreements. And then there's the Fifth Agreement, which is the healthy skepticism.
Mhm.
And so that is coming from our own inner authority around what we're choosing to believe or not, or subscribe to, right? And so we may listen to a book or read a book, and this is coming from a person, right? And we have a choice to be able to take in their belief systems or not, right? And so I think that's really powerful that you were able to take from that Rich Dad Poor Dad book what really supported you, and then also kind of turn off some of the other values that that person holds because it's not based on what you hold, right? And so I'd love to actually inquire a little more about some of our own personal breakthroughs in our own money mindset or our own process of becoming more wealth conscious, more in the prosperity flow, currency flow, as you were talking about. I love just the term currency, SEA, allowing it to flow through. So yeah, any personal inspirations or sparks that you've had on your journey?
I will defer to Halcyon.
I would love to speak to that skepticism for a moment, because it really, there's something lit up for me with that, which is, I think, in terms of finances, most people, want more, and there's a lot of people that prey on that desire for more, and there's a lot of people who are trying to sell schemes or products or plans, and I know that I was raised with a real thick skepticism for anyone that's trying to sell you a plan to make money. Why is this person not doing the thing that they are doing? Why spend all their time trying to sell a program for real estate investment instead of doing real estate investment? And there are answers for why people would do that, but there's also a lot of people that are preying off that desire to make money. So I think skepticism is has to be in there. Now, the flip side to that is that I was raised with so much skepticism around people trying to sell you ways to make money that I have been very resistant to pay for trainings over the years, many of which I think could have been very helpful to me. I think I could have invested in myself a lot more, but because I was so like afraid of people taking advantage of me, that I was unwilling to take risks. So it's somewhere in that area of like, what is healthy risk, what is investing in yourself, and what is healthy skepticism as far as you just trust everybody that says, pay me money and I'll help you. Some of them will, and
Mm.
some of them are out there to try to prey on you.
Totally. Well, that goes right into, choosing our teachers as well, right? And being able to use our inner authority and discernment on who we want to give our money to, who we want to give our time and attention and, be a student of, right? If there's certain teachers out there that you just don't really resonate with, then it's like, okay, I'm not gonna put my time into that. But if there's somebody that really holds a similar value system, then it's like, yes. And I feel like that word investing in ourselves is such a powerful practice, right? And you were talking about Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is an amazing teacher for learning how to make the biggest investment in ourselves. There's actually another book I'll just kind of plant the seed to. I think it was The Last Safe Investment. It was a co-authored Bryan Franklin, and I'm not quite sure who the other author was at this moment, but you can check it out in the show notes. And it's really about alternate investments versus not just money or real estate or gold, but really investing in ourselves, investing in our community, investing in our relationships. And so I think that there's some really beautiful sparks and nuggets in that one too.
Mhm. Yeah, and that what you kind of are speaking to is, we're all familiar with that mindset of like, we're choosing based on love or we're choosing based on fear, and that gets applied to so many parts of our lives, and definitely gets applied to the realm of money for us. So whether or not we're going to invest in something or we're going to buy this training course, it's like, oh, I don't want to get taken advantage of. It's like automatically a fear-based decision. So it's really important to, like we talked about before in the previous like money episode, to like the first step in this whole process is to find out like where our beliefs reside. And just kind of examine our past, and have we made money decisions based on love or based on fear? Likely a combination of both. So it's been important for me to switch that and have it be determined, like, okay, so am I making this decision based on, am I grasping at something because I'm fearful of scarcity or something, or am I doing it based on love and being able to acquire more resources so I can live the sort of life I want to live, also provide, like, I've got like a family, that is growing now, so I've got some different decisions to make than I've had in the past. So, but making sure that those decisions are coming from love. Definitely sounds woo woo, but I found in my own experience, like, those love-based decisions more often than not, and sometimes literally, pay off for me. So I find myself, I rarely, if ever, have regretted a decision that I made based on love, even when it comes to the realm of money in our lives. So that's been a potent catalyst for me.
Not
I,
woo woo at all. I love it. I love
yeah,
making
Yeah,
decisions based on love. Yes.
yeah, for
I,
sure.
I,
So
I,
yeah, and go ahead.
I would say, I so love that direction. And I also, my skepticism kicks in, and like, I feel like if I look at my Facebook ads, it's filled with people trying to sell me programs to bring my gifts to the world and to learn how to sell my, and I know enough about sales funnels and marketing to know that they are trying to use the things that resonate with me, such as love, such as being of service, and they're trying to sell to me in that way. Now, that isn't to say that the programs aren't good. I feel like I know of way more programs that are trying to convince me how to make money as a coach than are trying to teach me how to be a good coach. And those are the kind of things that
Mhm.
make me scared
Mm.
and kick in my fear. I know fear is not good, but it is, and I'll admit that I would like to be more trusting in these worlds, but I also, I'm going to say yes, love and skepticism.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I love that so much because I have a similar feeling, and I think you and I have talked about this before, is just around finding ways to be able to share our gifts with the world in a way that is supportive to the lifestyle that we want to live, without trying to take something or be in that scarcity mindset. One of the things that's been really a lot of skepticism in my end here too is like being an entrepreneur and wanting to serve and be a guide, a coach, a healer out in the world, from that place of abundance, not from a place of scarcity, right? Because I do see a lot of programs out there that are just trying to make money. And I also see the shadow of that, of some people I actually know that have to sell a certain amount of themselves in order to survive and thrive. And so it's coming from that, like, ooh, I have to fill my program, otherwise I'm going to be like eating ramen noodles. And it's coming from that place of scarcity and not from overflow. And so there is a shadow side of that. And so I think that it comes right back around to the discernment on how we're choosing to share our gifts with the world. I know personally, I think I shared this in the last money mindset conversation, just around knowing when that sort of creeps in, right? And Giannis, you talked about that too, like tracking where the old scarcity programs might come in at different moments, and being able to catch it and redirect the action, redirect the thoughts, redirect the intentions. For me personally, there's a couple of moments where I get to play around with that, and I will like get to look at where those patterns come from. I think it's really fascinating to kind of go back on the lineage, look at what was taught to me from my parents, what was taught to them by their parents. So for example, if I am going shopping for food and I come to the register and I'm like clenching and I'm like, oh my God, this food is so expensive. I can notice that. And one of my current practices, and has been for some time, that has liberated me so much and has helped me feel so much more flow and the currency is to be able to watch when that starts to come up And then instead choosing to think to myself, I'm so grateful that I have the money to buy this food right now. I'm so grateful that I have access to this organic, delicious food. I'm so grateful that I have people to share this food with, right? Instead of getting into that kind of clenched space of like, I don't know if I should be doing this. And it's been an amazing practice to shift. And I just feel so much better when I do that. And then watch more money come in.
Mhm. Nice. Yeah, it's interesting looking back on my life and the tools that I have used to kind of to do that, to kind of get myself to that place. They sounded, even in the moment, they sounded a little like, oh, okay, that's, I had nothing to lose. There's a good amount of my younger 20s where I think I mentioned before in the previous episode how I've kind of found myself like abundant and then less than abundant and kind of back and forth, and got to a point in early adulthood where I was like, all right, I need to, how do I break this cycle? And so I started to read all these, tools and such. And one tool that helped a lot, and this, you talk about grocery, your grocery runs kind of sparked me on this because this is how I did it. It's, ultimately, if you find yourself in a place of abundance where you can actually have $100 and not need to spend it, or doesn't need to go someplace right away, take it and put it. I took it and put it in my wallet, based on this advice that I saw. So my wallet always had $100 bill tucked away in it, and then I would be grocery shopping and be like, oh, the price of that and that, and then that's like, then reminder is like, oh wait, I actually could afford this. I have the money in my wallet that I can afford this. I can afford it. And I would kind of have that moment like at the mall or something, and it took a little while, not that long, but it took a little while where I just like that mindset or that thought, I can afford this. I can afford this. I actually can afford this. Just cycling through that long enough, I found myself in a place where I didn't have to have the $100 bill in my wallet to believe and to know, and for it to be true, that I can afford this.
Mm-hmm.
And that belief literally changed things. Sure, it could be coincidental things, circumstances just changed in my life. I'm a firm believer in the power of thought and the power of belief, and that I would just be like going through the store. I can afford this. I can afford this. And that coincided with going through the grocery store. Do not look at the price of the thing. Just get the thing that you want. And there was a couple times where I I overestimated, and then be like, oh God, all right, can I take that off at the check, then the checkers, they go through this every day, so it's not a big deal for them. But that was a long time ago. And I don't look at the price of groceries anymore. I just get what I want. I am grateful every day that I get to be able to do that in the grocery store. I definitely practice gratitude for that. And that, I think, also helps to keep the more gratitude we have, the more things we have to be grateful for. It's like all these like hippie sayings, sayings that are not true fall by the wayside. Like there's millions of sayings that we don't hear about anymore, but the ones that we keep hearing about for a reason. They work.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. And I love to add on to that. There's a balance. Like you said, I don't really pay attention to what the cost is of my food as much as I did before, right? I have that experience where I used to kind of like look at the price first and then buy the thing, or at a restaurant, like instead of looking at what I want to order, I'm looking at the price of what the price of the food is, and then I'm going to decide based on that. And like finding the shift within myself to choose based on what I want, knowing that I have a balance, of course, like choose what I want first and then see if it feels in alignment to what I want to spend, right? And then same thing with the groceries. I played with both, or I was like, I'm just going to get what I want and not really pay attention. But then that kind of bit me in the ass, because then there's certain places that they don't, like I'll give you an example. There was a grocery store I went to that was really expensive, and there was like a sweet potato that I had picked up, and they had rung me up for like a $12 sweet potato. And I was like, wow, why is my bill so high? I didn't get that much. And I looked at the receipt and I was like, $12 for a sweet potato. Wow. Okay, that must be a really good sweet potato. And since then, I decided I ended up returning it. I didn't really want to pay that for that. And then since then, I started to pay more attention to where my money was going and starting to look at my receipt when I'm very grateful to be able to buy these things, and coming back to that, like just paying attention I look at my receipt to make sure that I don't get overcharged, because sometimes there's human errors
Yeah.
too. Things get swiped multiple times, and there's been so many moments when I check, there is something that I do get overcharged for. So one of the things that I've been cultivating in my own money practice is paying attention to the way that money moves through me, how it's coming into my life, where it's actually going to, how it's funneling, how I'm spending it, how I'm saving it, where I'm investing it. And this will kind of be a segue into why I'm so excited about bringing on a guest into our next money conversation is learning about financial practices. Financial literacy has really given me an opportunity to feel a lot more freedom in my life.
Yeah, and that's a good addendum. Thank you, Betsy. Yeah, definitely want to say that this is not, to be talking about like having a laissez-faire about your money. Like budgets are important, and so and being aware of the flow of money, how it's flowing in and out of your life is key for all this for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I really resonate with what you guys are talking about, and it is a very new experience for me to choose something at the grocery store, not based on what is on sale. Like I've started noticing myself just in the last couple of years, like I just saved $1 and I'm buying something that I don't want, or I'm buying something that is a compromise. So for every bite of this cereal, it is going to be a less enjoyable experience. So what is that dollar worth? And so in trying to change my money kind of attitude of trying to save as much as possible, the game being save, 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 to wait, no, the purpose of all of this energy is to maximize my joy, maximize my freedom, maximize my appreciation of these things, so that somewhere in there is this equation of like, okay, actually spending $3 extra on toilet paper that I love, worth it, totally worth it.
Yeah.
Another thing on mindsets that you're talking about, that having that gratitude for being able to purchase the groceries you want, and I think that can be brought into so many ways that we spend money. When you are paying your bills, when you're paying for your electricity, and saying like, I'm so grateful that I'm able to have electricity coming to my home. I'm so grateful I've got water coming to my home. I'm so grateful I can pay taxes, so that I have enough money coming in that I can contribute towards the roads. Now, it can get deeper and frustrating when you realize what else your taxes are going towards. But just in general, that attitude of like, I'm grateful for this opportunity of I get to pay this bill because I'm a part of the system that's working for me.
Ooh, 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 I got sparks on that one. So one of my biggest money breakthroughs, well, I've had a lot, but this is probably one of the biggest ones I had in my early days of discovering the power of thought in relationship to money. So I was my mid to late 20s, and I was kind of navigating the new lifestyle in California where things are more expensive. I was starting off my career, so I was, pretty close to broke. I was getting by, but I was at a very low point, and I had just started really practicing affirmations. And I had this affirmation on a sticky note that said, "I appreciate all the money that I have now." And I had that there, and I was, at a place where like, how am I gonna afford my shampoo? I'm running out of things, and I have utilities, and I was feeling really like scraping the bottom of the barrel. And so I sat down at my altar, and I just started to kind of like tune into, what was happening. And I saw that little sticky note, and I looked over, and I remembered that I had a piggy bank. I had been putting quarters in for like a year. And my idea of putting quarters in was like to save up for a vacation. And I don't know what I was thinking to make a vacation out of quarters, but it was a moment anyways. I took that piggy bank. It was one of those ceramic ones from Mexico. It just has a little hole in the bottom. So in order to actually get money out, you really actually have to break it. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll just take out some quarters to, pay my utilities and buy my the products I need. And so I'm like sitting there shaking it, trying to get out just enough. And I see that little sticky note. I'm like, I appreciate the money that I have now. And all of a sudden it breaks. And there's this huge pile of quarters in my lap. And I had this overwhelming feeling of, whoa, look at all this money. look at all this money. Oh my God, it's like a mountain of quarters, you know? And I was like, wow, actually, I do have a lot of money. I appreciate all the money that I have now, even if it is in quarters. And sure enough, I started to attract clients. I started to attract these opportunities. Next thing you know, I was actually in the overflow. And I really do attribute it to that moment. And I started to see, to give thanks for even the small amount of money that is coming into my life. You know, every time I find a quarter or a penny even on the ground, taking that moment to be with it, like, thank you, universe. I'm open to receive money in unexpected moments. I appreciate all the money that I have now that comes to me and flows through me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is a hugely important kind of thing where people, I've had friends who were servers and they would get tipped, let's say less than 10% of something. So they would get $5 a tip, which is smaller than they feel like they should have gotten. And I was also actually, now that I remember this, I was a bartender and somebody that I was working with, and they would get super bitter about that. And on the one hand, I get it. On the other hand, it's not nothing. All right. If you were walking down the side, if you're walking on the sidewalk and saw a $5 bill on the ground, you would pick it up. Like you would put some effort towards that. So having that gratitude for even the smallest amount, in that way, I look at it, money is money. So thank you. Yes, thank you for this quarter that I just found on the ground. Thank you for this quarter I found in my cushions. Thank you for this $20 bill that somehow landed under the tire of my car in the parking lot. It's all, it's all worth, having gratitude and giving thanks for sure. And that's about the energy that we put into this whole realm of money. And something that has come my way as I've gotten older, a realization that has helped me out a lot is the idea that really the most valuable thing that we have, that all of us have, is time. And honoring our time and having that applied to the realm of money. Like, okay, so what is worth my time? Is it worth 10 minutes, me driving 10 minutes across town to get the better price on gas because it's 15 cents cheaper per gallon? It's like, how much of my time is it going to take to save $2 to do that? So like making these quick time cost benefit ratios when it comes to money has helped me immensely, because that really is the most valuable thing. When we're younger, you kind of just feel like you're gonna just be around forever. But getting to the point I'm at in my life right now, it's like I am likely in the second half of my life. If not, I'm really close to it. So that whole time, that perspective, kind of be like, okay, what am I choosing to do with my time right now? And this comes to making money, being like, okay, is this what I want to do to like earn money? It's like, no, I'm running out of time. I gotta find a way to, create a life for myself where the money is kind of coming, and because it's going to free up my time. So that definitely, that realization helped me. I wish to goodness I had that realization sooner, that like time is this finite resource that we all have, and it is ticking away. So that getting that download helped me a lot in the realm of money. So
that's huge.
So yeah,
that's huge. I think that's like very early, I witnessed my dad offer something on, this is pre-Craigslist, but he like listed something in the paper and basically said, come pick this up. And I was like, Dad, why don't you, offer it for sale? Like that's worth, $80, or something like that. And he's like, I'm an attorney and I charge this much an hour. If I have to sit through 3 people coming to look at this thing, it's just cost me way too much money to deal with this. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like, right. Like so there are a lot of times when it's not worth it to make the money, and it is worth it to overspend because you save yourself time.
Yes, definitely. It's a massive paradigm shift for me that I think we would, all of us could benefit from, at least giving it some consideration.
I remember the first
my friend
time.
actually My friend just yesterday mentioned that he has to go across the border a few times a month, and there is a $65 pass that gets you through the line in 20 minutes versus 3 hours. And he was sharing this exact sentiment with me, is that he knows that he is able to value his time enough to be able to see that that's worth it, because that extra 2 hours he can actually be putting forth into serving in his genius and also contributing and also making money.
Yeah.
And I want to give you know proper due to the concept, like, I have more time than I have money, so I need to stand in line for 3 hours because I really can't afford the $65 to spend on that. That is a real thing for sure. And it's important to like I said, have that process and make that part of your self-examination. And what's your time worth? Like, literally, like, I think it's important to put a dollar amount on our time, and then live our lives accordingly. So so on that note, our time is valuable, so let's get back out in the world. Betsy, and do you have any closing sparks for us to send us off with?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like for me, the closing sparks is around mindset and being able to notice when there is a contraction within the body, when it comes to feeling that sense of scarcity, and using that as a signpost to redirect and to shift and to adjust. So for me personally, being able to listen to those little clenching moments of like Halcyon was talking about, like trying to hold on to money, and watching when I can let go and soften and shift my awareness and start to open up to an abundance mindset, a prosperity mindset. And for me, of course, as many of you know, I am an affirmation enthusiast. So using affirmations to be able to direct my focus and to watch how the world reflects back to me that prosperity in tenfold.
Nice.
I love that. I guess my closing spark is related to that constriction. And one of the best tools that I have found is to hold on to an idea of tithing, or of, in some faiths and some beliefs is, give 10% of your earnings to charity, or your church or your community, or to others. And I find that it can be really difficult to give when you are feeling scarcity and you want to hold on to everything you got. But if you can change your headspace to be like, part of my budget is giving, no matter what, you can start to let go of that clenched fist mentality. And so, like, I give something to every Kickstarter, every fundraiser I see. I mean, it might be $5, it might be more, it might be less, but just energetically, I want to have my hand open so that I am contributing, because there's an energetic to the people receiving. You're establishing that I live in a world where the money's flowing, the money's flowing, the money's flowing. And I think that you cannot receive it until you act in the world in that way. And that has been my experience.
Yeah. Woo. I gotta just like interrupt with a affirmation on that one. The more I give, the more I have to give. Right? That's what you're talking about, right? The more you give, the more there is to give. The more I give, the more I have to give. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna send you some friends Kickstarters there, Halcyon.
Do it. Oh, I've already given to
Nice.
Joya Souls.
Oh, good. Amazing. Yay. Sparkling. How
I
about
put it
you,
in the
Yannis?
notes.
Yeah, please. Yeah, let's look her up. The idea, the idea of keeping that energy flowing and keeping and giving, there's a lot to be said for how showing up in the world, choosing how we want to show up in the world. And I want to be a source of positive energy for people, and that involves giving your money to like good causes, or giving your energy and time. Like I said, time is valuable, but contributing to making this world a better place. And that's ultimately I think that's ultimately what we're trying to do with the whole concept of money. Like I want to have enough to have my own needs met so that I can then, give to the world, give to my friends, give to my community. It's like, why otherwise, why else are we here? So I think, yeah, just kind of combining the two closing sparks of what you guys have shared. And for me, realizing that given that giving mindset, we can do that no matter what our level of finances and income, and no matter what our balance looks like. Our bottom line looks like. We can give, and that can be time, that can be finances, resources, or whatever. That being of service, that giving to the world, is rewarded in a lot of different ways. And it's often not a one-to-one, like a direct, so I'm going to do this thing for this person and they're going to do something for me. It's like, no, it comes from all different directions. And nature abhors a vacuum. Like if you leave it, clear all the stuff off of your table in a house, and there's something is going to be on that table very quickly. Create that space in your life for, let go of that grasping mentality, be that empty table, and allow the universe to just like, okay, you're supported, you're interested in supporting others, you are supported as well. So that's my closing spark for today.
Amazing.
Testify.
Yeah. Yes.
Testify.
I love that. Creating
Reverend Red Moon is now off the board.
Well, so grateful to get to be in this conversation, this ongoing conversation with you guys. And thank you guys for listening out there. So if anyone would like to know a little bit more about how you can discover how to work with us and how to, just dive in even deeper, love to start with you, Halcyon. How can people find you?
Well, if you are feeling abundant and you would like to purchase a t-shirt that will make me and you feel good, you can go to lovemorefearless.com and see some t-shirts that I make and put in the world. And another way that I would offer to flex your abundance muscles is to contribute towards First Saturdays, which is the homeless organization, the homeless charity that I have co-founded. And at firstsaturdays.org, you can get more info on that and how to help us buy clean socks for the people that we give to every first Saturday. And you can always join me any first Saturday in San Diego and help gift with me, another place to practice abundance. But all my stuff is online at johnstin.com, JOHNSTYN.com.
Amazing.
Yeah,
That's so
fantastic.
beautiful. How about you, Yanis?
So, as mentioned, I've got a nutritional supplement company called New World Nutritionals, spelled NU World Nutritionals.com. And our main product is a microdose product that is designed to help elevate and support a higher state of mind, a healthier state of mind. So definitely has been shown to improve and alleviate symptoms of things like ADHD, even PTSD, anxiety, depression, helps with forms of dementia, MS, Parkinson's, all things neurological. And ultimately, most people are using it to just kind of improve their outlook, improve their state of mind. It's started as me wanting to do that for myself, my friends seeing the benefits of me. So I started saving it to, or sharing it with my friends, who then started sharing it with their friends, and so on and so on. And so, yeah, it's really doing some good work, getting some great feedback from all sorts of populations across the country, across the world, really. So if it is something you might be interested in, check it out at newworldnutritionals.com. Feel free to use the code SPARKED to get 10% off of all of our products.
Amazing. Yes, and you guys can find me at poweraffirmation.com. I love helping people with transformation, mindset, embodiment, just really lifestyle transformation. So I have a journal called the Power Affirmation Journal. I also have some amazing audio affirmations on Insight Timer. You guys can check that out. I do empowerment groups and one-on-one coaching. And we also love to donate. So in the spirit of tithing, you guys can check out Eden Reforestation. So 10% of our proceeds go to reforestation and planting trees in multiple countries around the world through this amazing organization. So make sure you check that out. And also, in the spirit of money mindset, I have a prosperity activation that uses mindset affirmations and subliminal reprogramming from some of the masters like Napoleon Hill and Paramahansa Yogananda. So make sure to put that in the show notes for you guys. And again, you can find my website, poweraffirmation.com.
Awesome. Anyway, we could close out with an affirmation from you.
Yes, of
Yes.
course. So I actually have one here. I am in the process of creating a Power Affirmation inspiration deck. So I have this card that is, I am prosperous. And so I'll read it to you guys, and you're welcome to just receive these words as if they were highly explosive vibrational bombs within your consciousness, exploding more radiant golden green energy within your cells. That one's Paramahansa Yogananda. All right, so breathing deeply and receiving. Every day, in every way, I am becoming more and more prosperous and successful. I am open and I attract opportunities that lead to my financial success, financial freedom, and prosperity. I am so grateful for the abundance that surrounds me and for the prosperity that is on its way. I allow money, abundance, wealth, prosperity to flow to and through me every day in every way. My mindset is aligned with prosperity, and I attract wealth and abundance into my life. And so it is.
Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you, Betsy. So it is. Cool. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Stay sparked.